What a lovely day to bake. Moi, my name is Arne, a German hobby baker who is living in Luxembourg. One of the videos that you like the most is my sourdough chocolate hazelnut bread, which I link here. I thought I want to make another variant of it, so I replaced the hazelnuts with sour cherries and also added a little bit of sugar because the first one was a little bit too bitter, I think. So the result is a super complex, heavily interesting bread that you will probably enjoy as much as the first one. So let's get started. This is from Luxembourg with loaf. The evening before we bake, we prepare our levain with 80 grams of water, 80 grams of flour and 10 grams of sourdough starter. And then we mix everything together with a spoon. This is left on the countertop overnight. For the main dough, we need a lot of ingredients. We need our levain from the evening before, we need 800 grams of flour, we need 600 grams of milk, we need 30 grams of cocoa powder, 120 grams of sugar, 8 grams of salt, 30 grams of extra milk because of the cocoa, we need 200 grams of dried cherries and dark chocolate. And I'm mixing in a little bit of orange juice to the sour cherries in order to get them hydrated. We will later drain the sour cherries again. So we add the milk and the flour and the mixing bowl as well as the levain. And then we also add the cocoa powder and the sugar, and then we start the mixer. We start at the low speed. And then after a while we take a dough scraper and scrape a little bit the sides from the mixing bowl so that there's no flour left. The cocoa powder binds a lot of the liquid, so that's why we have that extra milk that we add on top. And from time to time we add some of the milk. I've used here a ratio from 1:1, so 1 part cocoa powder, 1 part milk. But I think the next time I would use 1:2, so the double amount of milk to cocoa powder. After 10 minutes we can increase the speed of the mixer a little bit and also add the salt, which I forgot to record. And then after 50 minutes it's time to add the sour cherries. I have tried to remove all the juice by draining them a little bit or by squeezing them a little bit. And then we also add the chocolate. And then we continue mixing everything for about 2 minutes. Then we're doing a window pane test in order to check if the dough is already kneaded enough. You can see that's okay, but still not perfect, so we let it mix for another 2 minutes. And then it's time to transfer the dough onto our countertop. Always work with wet hands, that prevents the dough from sticking. And then we give the dough some slap and folds to bring it in shape. can also use a dough scraper to add some extra tension to the dough, or you can use your hands, form a round ball, and then we transfer it into a plastic container. I'm using here a non-sticky spray, but you can also use some neutral oil to prevent the dough from sticking to the sides. Transfer it into the container, close the lid and let it rest for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes we perform the first set of coil folds. So pull the dough up and move it over. You can see here the dough isn't sticking at all to the sides of the plastic container. That's a good sign. The gluten network has been developed nicely. After 30 minutes we perform the second set of coil folds. Rest for another 30 minutes, and then comes the third set. And after another 30 minutes rest, the last set of coil folds. In the first 2 hours of the process, it's important to give the dough a lot of tension. That's why we're doing the coil folds. There are so many techniques out there to shape a loaf. If you have a better one, please leave me a comment below this video. Would be interested to see how you shape your loaves. dust this a little bit as well, because we do not want to have that dough sticking into the Benetton. And then we transfer it as well upside down into the Benetton. Then you can seam the edges a little bit by using the stitching technique. It's not needed, but it gets some more extra tension to the dough. And then we cover it. And the 2 loaves will go into the fridge overnight. The next day it's time for the baking, and you see the fermentation really kicked in overnight, so you see the volume has really increased. So I've preheated the oven to 250 degrees Celsius, that's 480 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm using here my cast iron pan to bake that. For me it creates the best results because the steam is trapped in it. So I'm transferring the loaf into the cast iron pan, get a little bit rid of the extra flour, and then I'm scoring my bread. I think I've used a little bit the wrong angle here, should be 45 degrees. I'm adding some ice cubes to the cast iron pan. That creates some extra steam. I close the lid, and this goes now into the oven for 20 minutes with the covered lid. After 20 minutes it's time to open the lid. You see the bread has opened up pretty nicely and the smell is gorgeous, and we bake it for another 25 minutes at 220 degrees Celsius, that's 428 degrees Fahrenheit, until we have this nice bread. Look at this. Sound test is okay and it really looks nice. And these are my 2 loaves. So they're cooling now down a little bit, and then we can already cut them into 2 to see how the crumb has been this time. Wow, look at this crumb. Not the one that I have expected, but really good. I like the result. So of course you can add a little bit more milk, as I said earlier, then this will lead to a more open crumb. I guess the dried sour cherries and the cocoa powder really sucked all the hydration out of the loaf, and that's why it's not that open. But still the taste is really good, so you should try it. Bon appetit. Have fun when you bake that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please write me a comment if this bread is better than the first variant. I want to know. I'm really curious about your comments. If you want to support me and my channel, please like this video, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss my next videos. I wish you a great day, Eddie, and goodbye.